think I became a toffee snob.
They're serving with love.
So brokenness gets them more quickly to a place.
Welcome to the Rethreading Lives podcast, where we talk about how to take your threads of harm and through the rethreaded process, transform them into something that actually helps you reach your potential. We'll talk with different leaders in our city and our country and find out what they're doing. You'll walk away from listening to this podcast with useful insights and captivating stories on how you yourself can rethread your life and your business. I'm Kristin Keen, and this is the Rethreading Lives podcast. Welcome to Rethreading Lives. Today, our guest is Lisa. And actually, Lisa, now that I'm sitting here, I was like, I don't really know how to pronounce your last name.
Carol.
Like Carol, but it's Carol?
Mm-hmm.
Lisa Carol.
Yes, Lisa Carol.
Lisa Carol, because I never say your last name ever. Okay. We're talking to Lisa today about her work in the Rethreaded kitchen. Lisa is the kitchen manager, and she makes our delicious toffee with the toffee team. Our toffee is the best toffee in the world. We recently won Best of Jacksonville. We beat out the two other biggest companies in the city. And she manages our kitchen and makes toffee with joy and love that is contagious. She is changing lives. The kitchen is changing lives. And Lisa has integrated so many ingredients of the Rethreaded process into her work. And I know there will be lessons that we can learn from her, no matter if you run a kitchen, if you run a business, if you run a household. You are going to take some amazing tidbits today from our time with Lisa. So Lisa, why don't you give us a little context? Where are you now? And who is Lisa?
So, where am I now? That could be answered in different ways. If it is overall, I am all over the place, a hot mess, living 1 minute to the next, loving the minutes. Specifically in the kitchen, we are full speed ahead, preparing for the holidays, which, as you know, once July passes, Christmas is here. So we're ready to start playing the music and doing all the things. I recently moved. I travel between Rethreaded campus, our home base, and our interim kitchen. We start our day at Devo, and then we're up and running for the day. So where I am, I'm all over the place, and it's great fun, a little crazy. It adds to the joy. And who is Lisa? That's interesting. I am a child of God who at 52 am purposely walking in my purpose. I have this just amazing, beautiful calling to love our staff, my coworkers, my bosses, to the best of my ability. I'm the mother of 5 and a wife to an amazing husband. I love my mom, and I'm just a part of the family of God living on mission, and all those things intersect at my life at Rethreaded.
So maybe you can do that, because Jason shared one day about how he got to Rethreaded and how like everything in his life had kind of prepared him for this season now. So maybe you can share a little bit about how you came to Rethreaded, how you rejected us at first.
Rudely.
And then came to the truth.
Well, a number of years ago, I worked for a local nonprofit that was a grant-making organization, probably about 10 years ago. And I was invited to Rethreaded on Barnett Street to walk around, do a site visit, and see if it was a good fit for funding from that nonprofit that I worked for. And I walked in the door. I met you, Kristin, and Haley and others. And I, on a personal level, fell in love with the mission at Rethreaded. Rethreaded was a baby back then.
Baby.
Just a baby, figuring all the things out.
Yeah.
And I already loved the women being served through the program because they were already a part of my life personally through just some local mission work and friends that I love dearly. And so we were able to get a modest grant from the company that I worked for and continued, some funding here and there throughout the years. I took a package, a retirement, semi-retired right around the COVID time, and started a little bakery pop-up because anybody that knows me knows that I love to be in the kitchen. Being in my kitchen, I could come to your kitchen. They all bring me great joy. And I actually have the message on my phone that you left when you called me because I listen to it every once in a while. Just saying that some things were happening at Rethreaded and would I be interested in just coming and having a conversation. But it was super secret, so I couldn't even get all of the details. So I did the walkthrough with you and with Jason and listened, and my heart was just beating really fast. I was very excited to even have you contemplate bringing me to Rethreaded to work with your amazing staff and be part of the mission. So I, as you remember, said that I would go home and pray about it, which I did not do. I went home and made a pros and cons list and sent an email and just said, thank you so much. At this time, it just doesn't work for me. But if I could come on board part-time and help move this mystery thing forward, I'd be glad to do that. And you really need somebody full-time. So I got the thank you, but no thank you. We'll just keep on working. So good to see you. All those things. A couple months later, or maybe less than that, Kristin reached back out again and just said, hey, so let's get together and talk about something part-time. So I was very excited to come on and just even be any kind of a part of what was happening. So I took the position part-time temporarily. I've been here 2 years now, full-time. Gave up all of my side gigs that were happening and any thoughts of retirement. So at 50 at the time, started a whole brand new career and so many full circle moments from earlier in my career before my last nonprofit employment. A lot of things just have come together since then. So here I am.
In our kitchen.
In the kitchen, making coffee.
So why don't you walk us through what is the kitchen like? Like, what is it like to be there? Kind of paint us a picture.
Smells like chocolate and delicious cooking toffee. So just imagine that. Put yourself in a place where you can smell all the smells. Typically, there are 5 of us in the kitchen working most days during the week. Chatter, excitement, sharing. I liken the atmosphere to holiday morning, Thanksgiving morning at maybe your grandmother's, your aunts, your neighbors, whoever it was that maybe someone listening spent their holidays, banter, and sometimes we go deep. Sometimes somebody comes in and just needs to share some stuff. Sometimes they come in, or I come in and share the wonderful things or the meal that you ate. It's very family oriented. But in the midst of all of that, we're working hard and just loving every minute of it. Paying attention to each moment, each thing that we're doing, whether we're cooking, whether we're enrobing chocolate or packaging, being mindful of everything that we're doing. It's a special place.
I know. I remember when I went and worked in the kitchen one day with you guys, and I was on the chocolate machine.
Marvin.
What, Marvin?
Marvin.
And so each piece of toffee has to go individually on this little conveyor belt. And then it gets covered in chocolate. And then you have to grab it with tongs and move it into the nuts and salt mixture. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the moment that you don't pay attention or you're not present.
Yes.
I dropped quite a few toffees into the chocolate abyss. And I might have hurt the chain one time too.
I don't think you did anything that we could not straighten out.
It all straightened out.
It does straighten out.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one of the things that once somebody starts doing the work, the repetition is healing. Mm-hmm. There's something so comforting. We come in hot most mornings. We've started off in downtown Jacksonville. Everybody's in the car. We're going to the interim kitchen. We're getting out. We're loading up. We've got this. We get inside. Everybody has their assignments. We're settling in. Maybe we're bringing baggage with us. Maybe maybe we're working through some things, and then we settle in. Maybe we're working with Messy Marvin again. That's the chocolate enrober, one of them. And then we start to work. And like you, we're making so there's a sound and the movements. And then you switch trays and you get a rhythm. And you can get lost in your thoughts. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Or you can give yourself permission to think about nothing and just live in the moment of what you're doing, or take the time to pray or meditate, whatever it is that brings you joy and peace in the moment. There might be an instance where someone needs a minute. Maybe they're thinking about some hard things and start to get a little flustered. We have permission to step away and just take a breath. Use some of the tools that you might be learning to bring yourself back to calm and a comfortable place. But by and large, the repetition of the work, whether you are cooking, enrobing in chocolate, or packaging, can be very healing. You were a very good packager.
I loved packaging.
And
I was a good packager.
You are a good packager, Kristin. So
why are you laughing, Jason?
So I want you to think about this. There are small wins in the kitchen all throughout the day. So if you are cooking, the very fact that you've cooked a delicious batch, it's not grainy, it's not oily, there's a thing. There's science happening in the pot. And when you've made a good pot and you're pouring this 300-degree candy into molds, little tiny toffee molds, and they look good. And you're putting just the right amount and you're being consistent, you're winning like on every every pour, every drip, you're winning. And you've just won that whole batch. And now it's time for the next one. Or you're enrobing chocolate. And here's the thing. The toffee needs to be the star. And so if you're enrobing chocolate, I need you to be thinking about toffee as the star, not the chocolate, which means the ratio has to be just right. The size of the nuts, the amount of nuts, just right. And so with each piece of toffee, you're making just the right size so that the toffee can be the star. And you're winning, and you're winning, and you're winning with each piece of toffee. And then you finished a tray, and then the tray goes in. Then you finished a batch. You've done 8 pounds of toffee. The best toffee in the world. Toffee that tastes like freedom. And now you've just won that batch. Wins. I'm having a great day now. Packaging, same thing. The small bags are 3 ounces. If you can hit 3 ounces on the nose, you're winning, 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 winning. And so by the end of the day, you've been winning all day. You've worked hard, but you've been winning all day. And you're tired. And we're tired. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with working hard or being tired and looking forward to rest. That's what the kitchen does day in and day out. And it never gets old.
And I just want to, the toffee kitchen staff is you, our chef.
Yes.
Perfects everything. And then 3 employees who are also in the program, right? And one more part-time person.
So we have 3 staff that are part-time that are not in the program. And then we have 3 staff that are in the program. Everybody has a little bit of a different schedule.
Okay. Just wanted to. So can you speak to the mindset that you create in the kitchen? And can you talk about like what ingredients of the Rethreaded process does it relate to and kind of what the effects are? You talked, when we were preparing for this, we talked a lot about the mindset that you're setting. And I think part of the mindset is winning. Like you get to win all day long. Mm-hmm. And I don't know many work environments that create an environment where you feel like you're winning all day long.
Yeah, because most environments are focused on results. They're not focused on process. And that's one of the things I think Rethreaded does a little differently than a lot of organizations is we are focused on behaviors. Are we winning at the behavior level? And then living in a faith world of if I do the right behaviors consistently for long enough, the results will take care of themselves. Because standards still matter. Results still matter. It's not that they don't. It's just we don't celebrate a result because it's good or be sad because it's bad. We look at the behaviors. And
it's the journey.
It's the journey. It's the
to
process.
The result.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you get there. Because you could get there
Yes.
and make 8 pounds of toffee in a rush with pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could make 8 pounds of toffee consistently with joy, winning all along the way at every step.
Yes. We actually had lunch together in the Toffee Kitchen today. And we were celebrating one of our newest ladies in there who's been maybe 4 months or so. And she is good. And she is accustomed to working and pushing and fast. And our biggest win so far is that with her is that she has slowed down long enough to enjoy the journey of the work she's doing every day. She adds so much value without rushing and, being the fastest. My one of the mind for the mindset is there should be joy in the kitchen. I mean, we're making toffee. And if there's not joy in what you're doing, I think we need to sit down and look at it and see are you feeling pressured? Yes, there's procedure and codes, all things that we follow. All of those things are very important to us, but there should be joy in the journey. And I believe that there is. And to see the same person who really felt like they had to rush so that they could add value, realize that they were already adding value and that they could enjoy and actually the result ends up, as far as production, if you were looking for, we want to produce X number, when you enjoy the journey, you're going to end up making far more, far better. Just take your time, enjoy the journey. Speed comes in time. Some of us have been doing these things for 2 years, and yes, we're fast. That was never our goal. The goal was to do it right and enjoy the journey.
I wish I had you as my mentor when I started Rethreaded. There was nothing slow about me.
Yeah, it's the power of consistency over intensity.
Yeah.
Yeah, to hammer the same nail over and over and over will get the nail in there. And if we can come in every day and do the work consistently, steadily, a constant pressure forward, you don't have to run around with your head cut off and panicked and stressed, because that actually cuts down on your creativity and your strength long term, because you're sprinting and you're just going to burn out pretty quick.
Yes. So the other part of the mindset in the kitchen, from the very first day that somebody starts in the kitchen and we're standing side by side, typically we start in packaging. So I can introduce the ladies to the flavors and the packaging and all of those things. From the very first day that somebody starts working with us, there's a mindset of creating space for the next lady to come down the road. And so as we're training someone, we're encouraging them in that one day they'll be standing there with someone next to them and they'll be saying the same things in training. And we work hard, we enjoy our work, but we never take our eyes off of a growth mindset personally and in our business, where the more people that love our toffee, the more women we can bring into our world that can experience a safe, loving work environment while they work on themselves, while they check off the boxes, the lists, the to-dos, and all the things that they need to do to really reclaim their lives.
It's vision. Yeah.
It's vision.
You create a vision that's bigger than themselves.
And it's an instant buy-in. I'm always amazed at how much our staff love each other. And that one person who might feel like they're in the middle of a broken season, where they may feel a little broken, when they notice that you're broken, they instantly rise to the occasion to nurture you. There's things like that I would never have necessarily expected like I may administer some love and grace, but I think I'm getting twice the love and grace from everyone around me. We're filling each other all the time.
Well, as I'm thinking through this, we often talk about blame and shame. It steals your potential. So you've created a work environment that's constant, steady pressure, that's focused on the journey, not the results, that there's a vision that's bigger than you. And what I think that does is that when I think of that woman that you were talking about, she has no need to prove herself. Like, it takes away that my work, my value, my worth is connected to being the fastest, the hardest, like number one, like, and it takes that away. And I think that's a brilliant way to lead a business when no one's fighting to prove themselves. And there's open-handedness with love, compassion, support.
Yes. Yes. And it's a team. Someone needs help. Someone needs encouragement. The others are instantly rising to the occasion. You really get to know each other, and you can tell when somebody's maybe needs a little extra encouragement for the day. And I see that all around me. And when we talk about an environment that I've created in the kitchen, I would be remiss if I took the credit for the environment in the kitchen, because as you said, there is myself. We do have an actual, real, amazing chef with a tasting palette that is unbelievable. We have another just longtime Rethreaded supporter and fan advocate that has been working with us for 2 years. And we actually have one of the original employees from the toffee company that drives an hour each way. She works on a day that none of our program staff are even in the kitchen, with the mindset that she is creating space. She comes in, she works hard, and she leaves, driving another hour back. And when I get to spend time with her, the questions are just full of life. And when she has an opportunity to spend time with our program staff, to hear her pour into them, and her why of being there is incredibly selfless. And so the four of us spent a year talking about, what is this going to look like when we're in our kitchen and we have new staff? And how do we best serve them? And how do we pave the way for them? And how do we word this training and all of these things? So it was everything that we do is a collaboration from myself and these three amazing, selfless, loving women. Not just me.
It's usually never just one person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Did I mention that our toffee tastes like freedom? Did I, Jason?
You did, but you can repeat it over and over and over.
Yeah. So when I have the privilege of meeting guests that are shopping at Rethreaded, we're having an event, or I just happen to be in there and I'm able to share samples with them, or our retail staff has samples out. And just to have an opportunity to talk about the day that toffee was made, or any of our toffee, and for people to just experience that they're now partners with my team, with the toffee team, in changing lives in such a real way. The most tangible part of that is tasting the delicious toffee. But the minute you do that, you're part of what we're doing, because you're celebrating someone that stood there and cooked it, someone that stood there and enrobed it, and then the one that came through and packaged it. Because without that person, there'd be no toffee to make. And they're such a part of our mission and our work. I'll never take that for granted.
So Lisa, we love her so much, and whenever she starts a conversation, we love it. So, and I've started doing it now. I know that there's people on this podcast who are listening that run a business, they're leaders, they're parents. And I think some of these principles that you've been talking about, vision, purpose, all of these can apply to their life. So what would you tell someone? We're going to use the analogy, like, what if they want joy in the kitchen? Like, what if they want to create environments in their workplace or their family where this exists? Like, what is your advice to them?
So I would recommend that they take whatever it is that they're doing and find the human element in it. My best example of that is in my former work world. I was responsible for making spreadsheets for grant making. Very tedious. I wasn't great at it, and I would often get frustrated because I wasn't great at it, and I tried so hard, and I would find myself wrestling with myself to stay on task. But then you start looking at the names of these organizations that you're writing grants to, that you're helping to fund, and you realize that there's heartbeats behind everything that you're doing on this tedious spreadsheet. Really, there are heartbeats. There are real people. And so no matter what you're doing, where's the heartbeat behind it? Right? Where's the life? If you are... Okay, let me give you an example. At Rethreaded, we have some production teams, we have finance, we have operations, we have business members, working with partnerships, all of these different departments. And if one piece of that puzzle was missing, we couldn't operate. We simply couldn't operate. If the team wasn't working with local businesses on partnerships, we couldn't operate. If finance was not taking care of all the things that they take care of, we couldn't operate. Our operations team, while behind the scenes most of the time, we couldn't operate. They're keeping things running. They're keeping things replaced. They're keeping things clean. They're setting the stage for amazing events. And so there's a heartbeat behind everything that operations is doing. And so if somebody is, working in the Serenity Garden, it may not be obvious, but they're serving all of our supporters that bought bricks for the Serenity Garden. They're serving our guests that come through, that volunteer, that are doing tours through the garden. They're serving us When we go to find peace and quiet in the Serenity Garden, there's a heartbeat in everything. Find your heartbeat. Find life in what you're doing. And I would find it hard to believe that that's not going to ignite a passion for your work, where you could find joy even in a mundane task.
Jason, you came from corporate world into our nonprofit world. And I mean, it's easy. Most days at Rethreaded, it can be easy to find a heartbeat. I mean, we're working side by side. Our mission is inbred in us. Like, I mean, it just like, it's right there, obvious in front of us. And you came from like retail, a retail company with clothing and stores expansions and I mean, all that stuff. How did you, when you were in that world, how did you find the heartbeat?
Well, it's actually the same thing. I mean, in the retail world, you can get pretty quick to the human who's standing in front of you. There's probably some things that some retail companies are selling that are doing harm. So I don't know if you could find that the human in front of you, but when they need clothing, when they need food, there's a real human need there. But one of the things that I actually taught some of the teams that work for me, I learned the hard way. I was running a store in Foley, Alabama, and it was, I don't know, a couple days after Christmas, like very beginning of January or something. And so I started joking with this customer, and she finally made her way to the cash wrap, and she started crying. And I thought I'd made her mad, and I'm like, oh, foot, I'm really in it now. So I just started like ringing her up, like, oh, foot, what have I done? What did I say? And she said, thank you for making me laugh. My husband and daughter were killed on Christmas Day in a car wreck. And today's the first day I've laughed. And it dawned on me, that's a human being. So in the retail world, a lot of people complain, oh, my customers were mean to me. They were rude, or they talked ugly to me. Restaurants, you hear the same thing, probably every business. And the thing that dawned on me at that moment, and I've tried to teach it to people afterwards, I have no idea where they came from this morning. I don't know which one just left the hospital. I don't know which one just left a funeral home. I don't know which one just left divorce court. I don't know what they might be dealing with today. But they're a human being. And in this moment, whether I'm a salesperson or I'm the front desk clerk somewhere, it does not matter what business, in this moment, I have absolute control over their life. It's my environment. So I get to decide whether the next few minutes are going to be pleasant or miserable for this human being. And when suddenly you realize, one, it's empowering. I can control the environment for another human being. But then the other piece is, okay, now what? Now what am I going to do with it? And it could be nothing, and I've added no value to them. One of the things we talk about is we add value to every person who interacts with Rethreaded. Well, that's some of where that language came from okay, that's a human being. What do I have to give? I've got time. I've got attention. Yeah, I'm going to help them with this product, what it is they need. But these next 5 minutes, these next 20 minutes, this coffee that I'm having with this person, I'm trying to sell them something. What are they going to leave with? Are they going to leave with joy? Or am I going to drain something out of them while they're sitting here with me? And so I think if we go home to our families and behave that way, we'd behave differently, and we'd have a different outcome in our families. I think our churches, I think our nonprofits and our businesses, if we would really stop to think about, that's a human being. There's a heartbeat in there. Well, I don't like them. They were mean to me. Well, maybe step back a little bit and just wonder, what did they walk out of this morning that you might have been at the end of your rope too if you had walked out of that. I think it just changes your perspective a little bit.
We talk about this sometimes at Rethreaded, this concept, and One of my favorite authors and teachers talks about it. Greg Boylan from Homeboy Industries, and I think I've written about it as well, but this idea that we belong to each other. And there's not an us and them, there's only us. And if we could start to see each other, that you belong to me. So when I'm with you, you belong to me. And I think that would transform our neighborhoods, our schools, the prisons, the jails.
It does. It changes the most basic relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, our UPS guy.
Yeah.
Our ladies took it serious. We add value to every person who interacts with us, and they loved our UPS guy until he showed up at our birthday party. Because he was like, man, I'm part of the family. He's our UPS guy. He just does deliveries. Yeah. No, not this UPS guy. I mean, he was incredible. Yeah. Deeply invested in what Rethreaded was doing. And so he then began, same thing you said a minute ago, we pour into each other. It started with our ladies on the retail floor saying, my job is to love every human who walks in here, regardless of why they're walking in here. Plumber, love them. UPS guy, love them. And in return, he fell in love with us and would do anything for that team that they needed. Way more things than UPS was paying him for. Because suddenly there's a heartbeat. There's a human being right there. And it became not business anymore. We were doing our businesses and doing them well, but we weren't doing business anymore. We were interacting with a human being.
And I wonder what that looks like I'm just thinking out loud, in the world of justice. If Jesus talks about it. Do not repay evil for evil, but repay evil for good. And if we changed that viewpoint, would justice mean something different to us? Mm-hmm. Would people police differently, and would hospitals, would it just change us, is what I wonder. And I guess when we were talking about this and you were just like, the difference when you go through two different fast food lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you go through one particular fast food line and the line is a block long and your order is taken fast, the line moves with efficiency, your food is hot and fresh. How are you? Have a great day. And I wonder sometimes that the company next door and on the other side, why they're not looking at this one and saying, whatever they're doing, we need to do. And it's actually not that difficult. They're serving with love. And they see a heartbeat with every order because you can feel it in the interaction. When you were talking about us belonging to each other, I felt that. And that is, without a doubt, part of the culture that we experience at Rethreaded. Mm-hmm. A lot of us are very competitive. A lot of us are very strong personalities. But I have never seen a group of people so entirely rooting for the person next to them, the one across the room, this selfless sort of, I would do anything to help you through that, or the biggest cheerleaders for the person that just did something great or, earned something great. It's a culture that I would love to see in other places instead of just the competitive part, right? Competition's fine. It's fun. But to really be rooting each other on in growth and in love and all of those things.
And we started to have this conversation one time. Pretty much every leadership book talks about this. And they talk about how to lead a team and all this pressure and joy, and it's about the journey. And I feel like we'll probably be writing books like that forever, because it's really hard to learn it, because it's like the opposite. Most days for me personally, a lot of times it is the exact opposite of what is inside me. That I want the attention, I want the star, instead of creating space, my sphere, to hold other people and to cheer them on well. And like, I feel like I've had to learn that in my leadership and my growth. And apparently that I'm not alone in this, because there's a lot of books written about it. Yeah. The capacity to become a better leader and to bring joy into my kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, not to oversimplify things, but are we loving each other really well every day? Are we seeing each other? Sometimes in the evening, I might be, mentally thinking about my tomorrow and what's in first order. And, there's a lot of coaching. There's a lot of coaching in the kitchen. I'm typically the coach, but I do have some co-coaches. And I'll think, okay, so we need to talk about this, and this. These are things that need to be addressed. When I have the opportunity to do so, and I'm looking at the person that I want to coach a little bit, and something's just not right, it's time to pivot. It's time to pivot, because she is not going to hear a word I say while she's dealing with whatever it is. And so, do I still need to coach about that thing? Whatever it is, yes, I do, but not right now. And so becoming a little bit intuitive of the others around you, I think, is important, to have the intuition that something's not quite right.
Well, that's a brilliant statement, because obviously something you're going to be working with, and we've talked about, as we've heard from survivors about their experiences in systems, that's the problem. Is the system thinks I have to do this thing. I have to cover this piece of material. I have to ask this question. I have to do this job with this person. And they're so fixated on what they have to do that they cannot see something's not right, and then stop and see a human being for a moment, and be in the moment with another human being, and maybe still have to do that thing, but maybe not just this moment. That's coming up more and more and more in these recent conversations of everybody is just trying to check the boxes and get through the list as quick as they can. And they never see the human being sitting in front of them that's helping them check those boxes. And just a brief moment of humanity can change the whole conversation. And you might suddenly realize the problem I'm trying to fix is not the problem. Oh, this is the problem. That's a symptom of the problem. But if we don't ever stop, all we do is hammer people for symptoms, and we never, ever take the time to understand, that's the problem.
It's kind of, it's the idea of openness, right? Like, to take the time to slow yourself down enough to be open to seeing people. Because when you do that, it opens you up. Like, you might have to feel, you might have to face a harsh reality, you might have to change what you believe about that person. And like, it is just easier to shut it off and check the box and not risk the openness.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with changing your mind about how you feel about something because of something that you've learned. That's actually growth. Sometimes we come to the table with something that we've thought our whole lives, or we've felt, or we were taught, or it was a part of our culture. we come to the table and we learn, oh, foot, we've been wrong about that this whole time. Mm-hmm. And it's not a weakness to change your mind. It's actually building strength and character. And then maybe it changes the outcome for someone because you've realized you were wrong all along, maybe.
And there's more sides to hold. Like the complexity of life and I'm just going to take a topic, a very controversial topic, like abortion. People, it's a very polarizing issue. And to the point where people are like shut down about it. Mm-hmm. But like, what could we learn from each of the polarizing sides and then hold together instead of just shutting ourselves off? You're absolutely wrong. There's no way. And we dehumanize it. I guess we use it because we're not open. It dehumanizes. And I guess we can so easily do that in everything. When you hold beliefs that strongly, or you're checking the box that strongly, or whatever, you cut yourself off, and then you miss out on hearing the other people and knowing them and them belonging to you and you belonging to them.
Yeah, because we get so fixated on this is what I believe, and I have to change that person. That person cannot be right, cannot be good, cannot be decent, cannot be, and hold this opposite view of mine. I mean, it's obviously wrong, so they cannot possibly hold that view. And so we get so fixated on it. I have to have an outcome. I have to change this person for my beliefs to be true. No, my beliefs can still be true, and I can still be a decent human being, that I can care for them if we never agree on this topic. I can still care for them because they're a human and they're having an experience, and I can at least care about that that they have a heartbeat and that they hurt and that they have joy and that they have those things. But it's kind of what we were talking about yesterday. The moment I can say you're evil, I can dismiss you. You are no longer human. I can dismiss you now. All of your opinions are invalid. Everything that you ever say is invalid now, because I've made this determination back here that whatever stance you're on, this person's stance is wrong to the point of being reprehensible. Then I can just dismiss you and not even see you as a human anymore, which I think we see all over our society right now.
Well, it's an easy way for you to never address injustice around you. Mm. It's an easy way out.
And I think about our ladies at Rethreaded. If they were not in the context of Rethreaded, part of my assumption would be that people would call them criminals, addicts,
and worse.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they're in our context. And I think that our part of what we do, join the kitchen, releasing their potential, is also open up other people to see differently.
We put another lens in front of their face, and suddenly that human being looks completely different than they would have looked 24 hours ago if you didn't run it through the filter Rethreaded. Mm-hmm. And when in fact it's the exact same human being. And it's the exact same human being that is still on the other side of that filter.
Yes.
It's the exact same human being you're still calling these names.
Yes.
They just haven't come through our front doors. And then 1 minute after they walk through our front doors, you're going to see them through a different filter. The fact is, it's the exact same human being. Our door didn't actually change them. Our door simply put a lens in front of your face so that you could see them for a change. So
I love what you're saying as far as painting a picture. I, for years, was involved in ministry work at a dope motel. The women that I knew from the motel were in the middle of maybe addiction and all of the things. then my involvement in ministry at an inpatient rehab center, they've started the work. And they're in a different place, same women. So I talked to Kristin about my full circle moments. Same women. They've begun the work. They're just at that stage of their lives, realizing the obstacles that they're facing. And they have a real decision to make. Am I going to continue to move forward and reclaim my life? Or is this just simply too much for me to handle? And so enter Rethreaded. Now I'm at Rethreaded. And the women have already begun the hard work. They've already started to overcome obstacles. They now have a job, and they have resources, and they have full-time advocates asking them the questions to send them to the next resource or to go with them and stand beside them. And then I have best friends in my life that are even way past that are in leadership positions that have the tools that they need to live amazing, productive lives and have experienced so much healing. Same women, just a different, they're in a different place with it. And to have people that can come alongside you that have a plethora of contacts and information, and to create connections so that you can start to overcome that, is to get to that next step beyond, maybe beyond Rethreaded, maybe at Rethreaded, but to empower them to move forward in their lives. They started way over here and just started doing the next right thing, moving forward.
And they're changing their lens. How they see themselves in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And as a byproduct, reunification with children, siblings, parents, old friends. There's a ripple effect that happens, that now my children have the opportunity for a healthy, happy life. And just maybe that's where some of the generational traumas and difficulties, maybe that's where it ends. Maybe the family as a whole starts to experience real healing. And then the children are going to have children. And maybe they never even know anything about the difficulties that their family experienced or what they even had to overcome. Because now they're so strong and they've created a ripple effect of wholeness and happiness and healing. That's worth working for. That's worth making toffee for. That's what that's it. That's it. Because when a life is changed, it's not just that life. Not that one life is inconsequential, because it's not. But what are the other lives? I have a lady who has 2 young babies. And she said, it's different for them, Miss Lisa. It's going to be different for them. I say, yes, it is. It's good.
I love that lady.
I love that lady. Yeah, so we had lunch today to celebrate small staff in the kitchen, our chef made a beautiful, delicious Italian cream cake. And we made salad, and we celebrated not only a sobriety birthday and an anniversary for somebody who's never been at the same job for a year or never thought that they could be sober for 2 years. And to hear just the clarity and the confidence and the hope for the future, right down to a wonderment about, I'm starting to really wake up and just remember things. My thinking is clear, and I'm planning for the day ahead, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. What a difference a year makes, y'all. What a difference a year makes. And we would have been remiss if we did not celebrate the other lady at the table that's been with us for just a few months, maybe 4 months. And to say, wait till you've been here a year working with us, but after 4 months, the conversations, the attitude about home life, the tools that are being utilized to diffuse a situation where the one lady would say, oh, it wouldn't take much, and I would just go off. But not anymore. That's not what I do anymore. I just breathe. Just breathe for a minute. I think about it. And I say something different than I would have said before. And then I get a different reaction than I would have gotten before. And now there's a lot of peace and joy. And I look forward to the end of my day going home and sharing about what I'm doing, or just be together and enjoy a healthy relationship, because I know how to do that now. It's a beautiful thing. And I said, I cannot wait until we're sitting here and you've been here a year. What a difference a year makes. And then we'll celebrate she who has not arrived yet in the empty chair next to me. And what will we be saying about her? And we can pray for her now. And we're preparing a place for her. We're ready. It's just good. I say that a lot, Jason. Jason, my day. It's just so good. It's good.
I know, and I just feel so lucky sometimes. Like, we get to find hidden treasure because, well, I know one of them should have been dead multiple times.
Yeah.
And not valued. And then we get to just know them and watch them come to life.
Yes. And to understand that limitations don't have to be limitations, that there's a way to accommodate differences. Sometimes we might be dealing with a traumatic brain injury or sight loss. Yeah, we can work with that.
So we tried to buy the toffee company many years ago. 4 years before we actually bought it, right? No, 2 years. We'd been selling it for a couple years. This is how it all began. I met Anita, who founded Amelia Toffee. I met her at a women's entrepreneur event, PS27's Women Entrepreneurial event, and we started talking. We both very entrepreneurial, very a lot of ideas, and we met, and she said, I can make you a toffee. And I was like, well, what if you just take our Survivor made goods and put it into your toffee? And then we could sell your toffee. And both of us were like, yes. And of course it came to Jason and we're like, I had this idea, Jason. I got this idea. And this was actually one that worked out well. This idea worked out well. So we started selling the toffee.
We started with coffee, and we did that for
Coffee,
almost
toffee.
a year. And then we were like, all right, how do we grow this? And we figured out with Anita, how do we do the tea and the honey?
And then that's where the 3 original flavors were born with that. And then at one point, I don't remember the circumstances, but we wanted to buy. Did she offer to sell it to us for the first time?
I don't know if it was just dreaming
We were
that we were having. We
okay.
were just talking about what if.
What if? And then we actually tried to research what it'd be like to buy Amelia Toffee, and we researched a partnership with other nonprofits to make it happen, and then went through all these analysis, and someone's like, don't buy it, and we went through all this stuff, and it ended up at the bottom line we didn't have space.
Yeah.
So then fast forward 2 years in COVID, we find a building, buy a building at around the same time.
And suddenly we have space.
And then Anita reapproaches us and she's like, well, it's time. We really want to sell this toffee company to you, and it's time. And I was like, Jason, we're going to buy a toffee company. And then I pretty much gave it to Jason and let him read all the contracts. And he did the brunt of working out all the details. And
yeah, we were in the middle of drawing the plans for the new property.
and where are we going to put the kitchen?
And we were trying to figure out, okay, we have space now, but we don't have the money. So how do we build this kitchen? What do we do? And originally we were talking about putting it in the main building, and then we realized, man, that's going to landlock us, and we're not going to be able to expand when we need to. And so, we thought we would be using the other buildings on the property for, 5 or more years, or we wouldn't be using them for 5 or more years. And then we were already drawing plans before we ever moved into the property. So it moved a little more rapidly than we planned. So yeah, we bought it, still didn't have the building, still didn't have the kitchen built. And, so we worked out of the original kitchen
in Amelia Island
for a year. And then to this interim kitchen, then we'll be moving in shortly.
And it was a secret because we couldn't tell anyone.
Yeah, we couldn't tell anyone.
We had signed one of the things you signed.
An NDA.
An NDA, thank you. And that's when we approached Elisa. We're like, we have a secret.
Yeah, we got to have somebody who can run this thing, but we can't tell them what they're running yet.
Candy. And couldn't tell her what we had done. And now toffee is our number 1 selling item. Out of everything we make, it's our number 1 selling item. Mm-hmm. And it's the best investment I think we've made so far.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And then Lisa, best investment ever.
No question. No, I mean, she's raised the bar, not only on the kitchen, but on the lives of the people when they're in the kitchen, but on the rest of us. I mean, because of what she brought into the organization, she's raised the bar for how the whole rest of the executive team operates. But I mean, I think the big thing is, the impact it had on Rethreaded was, okay, an expanded business. But I mean, where we boil things down to is it's a whole new training program. It's a whole new career pathway.
It is.
That's growing quick enough that it's not unlimited amount of hiring we can do, but we can continually hire more people and teach them this whole new thing if this is what their passion is. And then they can take the skills to go work in a restaurant or in another industrial kitchen or on any other production line because they've learned the skills of working on a line. So, it really is, we've got between 5 and 10 full-time positions that this toffee kitchen will year after year after year change lives. And we'll make the best toffee in the world while we're at it. But year after year after year, we'll have ladies able to fund their lives, provide for their families, change generationally what their family's going to experience. by doing good business. And so I know part of what we want to do with this podcast is help people who don't work in nonprofits well, how do I apply this stuff? Well, if you're great at what you do, you're providing opportunity and you're providing things for the people who work for you. So yes, go be the best salesperson that's ever lived on the face of the earth. And as long as you remember there's human beings, you are providing resources for a group of people who work in your company to be able to take care of their children and go to the doctor when they need to. And those are fundamental, wonderful things to provide for somebody. So don't be ashamed of doing great work. Go work your tail off and do great work. If you are great at what you were built to do, you will help humans around you. You will improve the community you live in. And that's something worth working for. That's something worth living for. Because every moment we're exchanging our life for something, every single moment. And that's worth exchanging your life for. I mean, that's a life well lived.
Yeah. To also work with, with a vision in mind, whether you are part of the program staff or full-time staff, to always be mindful of the culture that you're creating. And don't you want to leave a legacy for others to heal and learn and have an opportunity to find their purpose? Because a lot of what has brought me to where I'm at, I can also, Jason, look back in my life and see how God has been preparing me for this season of my life, my entire life. And for staff that couldn't see maybe past the next hour or the next day, that are now looking at a future and coming to fully realize that they do have a purpose as well, and to give them the space and the time to determine what is that purpose and how can we go alongside you at this point and get you to that place. Because if you're not walking in your purpose, what are you really accomplishing? Mm-hmm. I love that I know so many people that in the midst of their healing journey, they're also thinking of the others around them and the others yet to come. That's a big part of the mindset, one that we all buy into right off the bat. And how wonderful to know that what you're doing today is affecting her and her kids and her mom and others down the road.
And I think one of the things that we're starting to grapple with, I know Kristin and I have talked recently about the unfairness maybe of having to take responsibility for my life when things have happened to me, but the power that comes from taking responsibility for my life even when bad things have happened to me. But not to try and put a silver lining on it, but our ladies are better than most. They're more open than most because of their brokenness. Their brokenness gets them more quickly to a place where they can be open about what is, and they can deal with the harshness of that. But then they can also be more open to the person sitting next to them sometimes than the rest of us. The rest of us are just convinced that we're okay, and we're just blazing through life rather than the awareness of where I've been and where I'm going, and that this person also is going somewhere. I mean, they get there faster than most of the rest of us do, because of what they've been through. So they've actually developed a set of skills that most of the rest of us may never develop. It's not a silver lining to what they've gone through, but it's a powerful thing the rest of us can learn if we would just humble ourselves enough to acknowledge our own brokenness. We're so busy saying we're not broken that we never get to openness because we're so busy denying it. That they are a great example of how quickly you can move and how quickly you can make an impact and how quickly you can actually achieve your purpose if you'll just get honest with yourself about what is.
I remember one of our employees, she kind of reminded me of Shirley, who we had on our podcast, but just so full of love and joy. She would pray over everyone. Like, we would have customers come in the store and she would just love them, and whether they wanted to or not, she was like, "Can I please? I just feel like I need to pray for you. I love you. I love you." And I remember asking our counselor one time, I was like, "Is this real?" I was like, "How can someone really be like that?" And she goes, when you experience the darkest of the dark, and the darkness is real. When you experience the light is so real. And I remember that, like, the light in her was so real because she had walked through the dark.
And she is spreading light.
Yes.
Everywhere she
Everywhere.
goes.
Yeah.
And she would love you. I'm going to love you. I love that.
But she was fearless.
She was fearless.
The rest of us would be too worried about whether we're going to offend somebody.
Yeah.
We'd be too worried about whether they're going to think I'm weird. We're going to be more embarrassed about what, and she simply didn't. I mean, she simply didn't. She didn't worry about if it looked weird or sounded weird or felt weird. It's just, no, we're just going to do this thing. And she changed people's lives while the rest of us are too busy going by, playing it safe. Yeah. And just the ability to live life without fear is just stunning. And the stuff we're afraid of is so small, so puny.
That's true.
So we're gonna have a little debate here. I don't know if there will be debate. I don't know, because I don't know the answer to the question. So, what is your favorite type of toffee and why? And I'm asking a question to the group before we start. Does it have to be one that is public yet?
Yes.
Yes.
Because nothing that's not public is even real.
It is real because I ate it.
It's not real.
Oh, I know. I'm not good at secrets.
Jason, what's your favorite toffee?
The chai.
The thing is, I can't even debate it. I'm like, yes, it's delicious. Why is it your favorite?
Because it is Thanksgiving in a piece of candy. It is Christmas. It is just, you put it in your mouth. Everybody chews up their toffee. Lisa knows. Jason doesn't chew toffee. And as it melts in your mouth, you are experiencing Thanksgiving morning. You're experiencing Christmas morning. You're tasting spice. You're tasting the smell of your grandmother's kitchen. It's not what I wrote on the back of the package, but that's exactly where my head is at when I'm tasting those.
So when you make the chai tea toffee, you take our chai tea, and she makes like an extract out of it, right? She boils it down until there's syrup, and then she adds flavoring to it.
Yes. So a chai tea extract. One of the other components in toffee: butter, sugar, whatever your flavor, wherever that's coming from, and then some water. So for chai tea, we also add highly concentrated chai tea from our chai tea that gives it just that, the notes of all of the holiday flavors and scents and all of the things that Jason just described so well, it just really elevates the flavor in the toffee.
I know I can't even debate with you. It's delicious.
It is delicious.
It was our #1 rated toffee when we did a toffie tasting
On a
test.
blind taste, it wins. When people talk about the toffee and buy it, they don't migrate to chai tea. It's I don't know, number 6 or something. But on a blind test, it is without a doubt because it's got so much essence. The other ones are wonderful. I mean, every single one of them is just so good. Honey butter is really pretty special. Real honey. It almost tastes, you can taste the honey. You can taste the butter. This is not just some bland mixture of flavors. They're distinct flavors that float across your palate.
What I would really like to talk about is
Hit the edit button. Hold on a second.
peanut pretzel
Oh my goodness.
toffee.
Talk about how it's made. I love it.
So what makes peanut pretzel toffee so incredibly special is that we get freshly ground peanut butter, freshly ground. That's where the flavor comes from. And its topping is different than the others in that we crush peanut butter filled pretzels and top it with that. So a little layer underneath and then a little sprinkling on top. So the savory and the sweet, it is probably the most dangerous of toffees because you have that perfect balance of savory and sweet. You might eat 1 or 2 more pieces than you would the others, but it is such a perfect treat. And the peanut butter flavor really comes through. So if you like peanut butter, that's your guy. It's very special. Our #1 selling toffee is sea salt.
The original.
The original.
We didn't, but not the original for us.
No, it's not one of the 3 that we started with. That's right.
My favorite is coffee, and that's just probably because it was my first experience of Rethreaded toffee. It's so good. And now I love that it's made with our Survivor made coffee. We can make our own coffee extract now. And it is the perfect little bite. The tart coffee, like the tart coffee with our sweet,
it's
the
incredible.
sweetness of the toffee is good.
Well, and because the flavor has been so elevated by our master magician in the kitchen, and that's not me. When you eat the coffee toffee, you can taste the roastedness of the bean. It's like a flavor journey.
Yeah, it does. It unfolds in your mouth.
It just does.
Yep.
And I just realized right here, I'm a toffee nerd. Something has happened to me. Something has happened to me. I'm very passionate about our staff, but maybe I'm a little extra passionate about the toffee. It's so good.
I think I became a toffee snob. I think I might, like literally in the deepest part of my heart, believe that we have the best toffee. And I'll try other people's toffee, and I'm like, it doesn't even doesn't compare.
So I might have spent several Saturday evenings ordering toffee from all over the world. And I have yet to find anything that compares to what we're doing.
I remember I tried some of the toffee that you brought in. You were doing the packaging, and I didn't eat it. I didn't even finish it. And I will eat sweets, most everything. And I didn't finish that toffee.
It's true.
And then there's snow mint, which is just special in a whole other way. Unbelievably good.
It just is. And the sad thing about snowmint is there's an end to that season. And so you know when it's coming. And it's like, Jason came up with our other seasonal toffee. I mean, he found a really cool name and said, "Now can you make a toffee?" He's like, "I love it. Ghost pumpkin."
Oh, yeah.
What can you do? And I said, "I don't know." So I talked to our chef and said, "So Jason has come up with this idea of a toffee called Ghost Pumpkin and maybe a shirt to go with it." I don't know. Something is happening. Can you make a toffee that goes with
Jason's T-shirt.
Jason's T-shirt? And boy, did she.
Boy, did she.
Boy, did she. It's getting ready to come out very soon. But it's a pumpkin toffee topped with a ghost pepper salt. So on the back end of eating this toffee is this little kick of ghost pepper from the ghost pepper salt. And even people that do not care for hot foods, because let me make this clear, it's not hot. There's a little spice and heat at the back end of it. It's an unexpected delight when you eat it. Delicious.
Yeah, Lisa had everybody raving about it last year at one of the events. She started sampling it, and we sold every last bag of it that night because everybody tasted it and realized, oh, this is...
Because she's a
this is
toffee
interesting.
nerd. She brings people
she's
into
a
the
toffee
nerdiness.
nerd.
Something's happening. Something's
okay.
crazy.
I love it.
So just to make things clear, never cooked any kind of candy nor toffee in my entire life till Rethreaded brought me into this toffee world.
We unleashed your potential.
You did. Yes.
The hidden treasure
The hidden treasure.
inside Lisa.
I do love it. It is delicious. And make no mistake, it's changing lives.
And we won an award for it.
We did win an award.
Jacksonville's best.
And we don't even have our own kitchen yet. What is going to happen?
When we're unleashed in our own world,
Well, there's already secrets that I can't talk about.
there's even some secrets you don't know about.
Oh, probably because I can't keep them.
There's even some secrets you don't know about.
That's not fair.
Oh, I'm a good secret keeper.
Yeah,
Okay.
until Kristin shows up at the kitchen and
Ooh, I'm gonna get off.
what is that? What is that?
Yeah.
Just accidentally leave it out, Lisa. Whatever it is.
Yeah, we definitely have to be careful when we're doing the little taste or test runs, experiment stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
This is your last question, Lisa. Can you... So we have our guests share a full circle moment. And a full circle moment is when the threads of pain have been transformed into something that helps you reach your potential. So it's like this moment when you're holding the pain and the potential in the same moment, and you're big enough and expanded enough to hold it all.
Wow. That's heavy.
I know.
Yeah. That's heavy. I can speak to a full circle moment because years ago when I started with ministry work inside an inpatient rehab, and I would meet these sweet young women and would often find myself picking them up and taking them to Bible study if they wanted to go, or just helping them, through some of the things that needed to be done. And sometimes just getting a little bit frustrated with maybe attitudes, or like I feel like they should be like so much further along, and maybe complaining about their mom or just things that I just expected maybe more, my perception. And just did that for a long time, still a part of my life. But the day that I walked into Rethreaded just over 2 years ago, and I'm actually thinking of one certain lady, and I walked in and there she was. And I saw the progress toward becoming the person that she was meant to be. And I actually heard her speaking this morning at Devo, and just thinking through my limited understanding of what she had been through, had no idea about any trauma that she had been through or what she had walked through. All I knew was that she was in recovery. She was a young mom and maybe not as mature as I thought she should have been. And now I see her becoming who God meant for her to be. And she's a phenomenal mom. And there's been so much restored family and relationships that it just took that kind of biting my tongue back then, or just always, trying to encourage lovingly, and just to see she had to just walk her path toward wholeness and healing, which is where she's at today. And she's really making a difference. And she's really talented. And that, while that sounds like maybe it didn't have as much to do with me, I think it really did have a lot to do with me, of my perception of where someone should be or what they should be doing or shouldn't be doing. She had to walk her path toward healing and grow. And I can't imagine the sky's the limit for this lady. That just brings me great joy that I had even 5 minutes to do with her journey. Super grateful for that.
Do you have any last words for Lisa?
Nope, we're just lucky to have her. She's changed the game.
Listen, I cannot even believe that I am a part of this. I am so honored that I get to work with the absolute warriors that I work with every day, that I get to be a small part of their story. Because if truth be known, the life that's changed and is changing is mine. And I pinch is this really my life? Thank you for joining, for asking me to join the journey to help pave the way, and for loving me well every day. It's such an honor to be a part of this. And it all just kind of starts with some toffee. It's just good. It's just really good.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
You can buy our wonderful toffee at rethreaded.com/shop, or you can come into our store.